Hey guys, in this video we are going to be making a mini drawstring backpack. To make this backpack you can use Lion Brand Kobu yarn or Karen's Simply Soft yarn and a 3mm hook. You will also need a button or bead that is about 3/4 of an inch to 1 1/4 inches. This backpack measures 3 by 3 inches on the bottom and 4 inches to 5.5 inches tall, depending on your tension. To get started with this mini backpack, we are going to start with a magic ring. And if you need to see how to do this or anything else in this video, I will put links for those in the description box below. So off of this magic ring, we are going to start with the chain of 2, which does not count as a stitch. And we are going to work 2 double crochets, again around this magic ring. Work 2 double crochets. We are then going to triple crochet around this magic ring for 3 stitches around the magic ring so far, again not including that beginning chain 2. We are then going to go on to work 3 double crochets around the magic ring. When you have those 3 double crochets, we will then again triple crochet around the magic ring. And these triple crochets are acting as our corner stitches. So at this point we should have 2 corners and 1 full side, and then 1 half side. We are then going to go on to repeat working 3 double crochets around the magic ring, and then working 1 triple crochet 2 more times. So again, work 3 double crochets around the magic ring, and then work a triple crochet around the magic ring, and do that 2 more times. When you have worked that 2 more times, you should have 4 triple crochets, which are your 4 corners, and you should have 15 stitches all together. And then we're going to work 1 more double crochet for the last double crochet on this original side. And then we are going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet of this round. And then we will pull our magic circle closed. And at the end of this round, you should have 16 stitches altogether with 4 triple crochets and 12 double crochets. For the second row, we are going to start with the chain of 2, which does not count as a stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet into the same first stitch, and then we're going to work a double crochet in each stitch until you come to the triple crochet for the corner. And on this round, that is just this next stitch. So work 1 double crochet in that next stitch, and then we are at the triple crochet for the corner. When you have come to the triple crochet for the corner, you will work 2 double crochets into this stitch, and then you will work 1 triple crochet in this stitch, and then work 2 more double crochets into the same stitch for 5 stitches total, all into this triple crochet for the corner of our work. When you have all 5 of those stitches worked in that same stitch, the triple crochet, we will then work 1 double crochet in the next stitch and in each stitch until you come to the next triple crochet for the next corner. And again on this round, that is just these 3 stitches, again until you come to the triple crochet for the next corner. And in this stitch we will again work 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets, all into the same stitch. When you again have those 5 stitches in that same stitch, you will go on to repeat this same thing by working 1 double crochet in each stitch until the next triple crochet for the corner, or you will work these same 5 stitches and you will repeat that all the way around until you've worked those 5 stitches in the last corner of this round. When you have made that all the way around and you have worked those 5 stitches into the last triple crochet of the round, you will then have 1 stitch left, and in this last stitch we will work 1 double crochet. And then we are at the beginning of this round, so we will slip stitch into the top of the beginning double crochet. And at the end of this round you should have 32 stitches all together with 4 triple crochets and 28 double crochets. For round 3 and 4, we are going to repeat round 2. So we are going to start with a chain of 2, which does not count as a stitch, and work a double crochet into the same first stitch. Then work 1 double crochet in each stitch until you come to the triple crochet for the corner. And in that triple crochet, you will work 2 double crochets, 1 triple crochet, and 2 double crochets. And then continue working 1 double crochet in each stitch until the next triple crochet for the corner, where you will do the same thing and repeat that all the way around. When you get all the way around, you again will slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet of the round, and do this until you have finished the end of round 4. At the end of round 3, you should have 48 stitches altogether with 4 triple crochets and 44 double crochets. And at the end of round 4, you should have 64 stitches altogether with 4 triple crochets and 60 double crochets. When you have finished working round 4 and you have 64 stitches all the way around, again with 4 triple crochets and 60 double crochets, that is the bottom of our bag, and we are now going to go on to work the sides of the bag. So again, those were the 4 rounds for the bottom of the bag, and we are going to start over with count to work the sides of the bag. So this will be the first row of the sides of the bag. So for this first row, we are going to start with the chain of 1, and we are going to work 1 single crochet into the back loop only of this same first stitch. Again, the back loop only. Work 1 single crochet around that stitch. And that is what we are going to do all the way around this round. Begin by working 1 single crochet around the back loop only of the next stitch, and do that all the way around this round. When you get to the corner and you have continued working 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch, again when you get to the corner it will want to flip up, and you will want it to do that. That is what we are trying to get it to do. So allow it to do that and continue working 1 single crochet in the back loop only of each stitch all the way around this round. When you have worked 1 single crochet into the back loop only of each stitch all the way around that round, you should now have this little lip forming, and we are going to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet of this round, and you should still have 64 single crochets. For the second row and every row until you finish the 25th row of the side of this bag, we are going to do the exact same thing. So we are going to start with the chain of 1 and work a single crochet in the same first stitch, and then work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around this round. And when you make it all the way around, you will slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet of this round. Again, you will want to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around this round, and when you make it all the way around, you will want to slip stitch into the top of the first single crochet of this round, and you will want to do that for this round, round 2, and for every round until you finish round 25. So this is what the side is starting to look like after working the second round of the sides. And again, you'll want to continue working the same thing until you finish round 25, and it will continue looking this same way all the way up. When you have worked the first 25 rounds up the side of this bag, we are then going to go on to work round 26, which is the round that we are going to work the top flap of this backpack off of. So we are going to work a single crochet in the first 10 stitches of this round. When you have 10 stitches on this round so far, we're then going to go on to back post single crochet, and if you do not know how to front post or back post crochet, again, I will put a link for that in the description box below and a tag up here in the corner. So we are going to go on to back post single crochet around the next 20 stitches, and it is a little difficult to back post single crochet around single crochets, but it is possible. So again, we are going to go on to work a back post single crochet around the next 20 stitches. When you have those 20 back post single crochets, we will then go on to work 1 single crochet into the next stitch and into each stitch all the way back to the beginning single crochet of this round, and you will slip stitch into the top of the beginning single crochet of this round. When you've made it all the way around that round, round 26, you should have 44 single crochets and 20 back post single crochets. For the next 2 rounds, round 27 and 28, we are going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, just like we have been all the way up the side of our bag so far. For round 27, when you come to this area that it is split in 2, you will want to single crochet around the inner line, leaving this outer line alone, because again, this is where we are going to work the top flap of the backpack off of. So again, for round 27 and 28, we are going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and for round 27, when you get to this split area, you will work around the inner line, leaving the outer line alone. So again, when you come to this split area on round 27, you will just want to continue working single crochets around the inner side, leaving the outer side alone. So just continue working single crochets along that inner line all the way across, and continue working single crochets all the way around this round and all the way around round 28. When you have worked round 27 and 28, this is what the back of your work should look like at this point, and then we are going to go on to work round 29. round 29 is the round that we are going to work the holes for our string on. So we are going to start off with a chain of 2, which counts as a chain 1 space for this first stitch. So we will skip over this first stitch then and work 1 single crochet into the next 6 stitches. When you have those 6 stitches, we will then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work a single crochet into the next 4 stitches. When you have those 4 stitches, we will then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And when you have those 2 stitches, we will then chain 1, skip a stitch, and then repeat the last 3 stitches another 4 times. So we will work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then chain 1 and skip a stitch. And now repeat that 3 more times. When you have repeated that 4 more times, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of 2 single crochets, and then 6 single crochets in between this 4 single crochet and the next 4 here that we are about to work. So you should end with a chain 1, and we should skip a stitch and then work a single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And again, in between these 2 sets of 4 stitches, we should have 5 sets of 2 single crochets and 6 chain 1 spaces. After these 4 single crochets, we are then going to chain 1 and skip a stitch and work 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches. When you have those 6 stitches, we will then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. When you have those 4 stitches, we will then chain 1, skip a stitch, and work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then chain 1 and skip a stitch, and repeat the last 3 stitches another 4 times. So again, work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then chain 1 and skip a stitch, and repeat that now 3 more times. When you have repeated that 4 more times, you should have 4 stitches left after chaining 1 and skipping a stitch, and we are going to work 1 single crochet into those last 4 stitches. When you get back to the beginning stitch of the round, you will insert your hook into that space made by those 2 chains and slip stitch, just like that, to create that hole. And that is the end of row 29, and you should have 16 chain 1 spaces and 58 single crochets. For round 30 and 31, we are going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So with round 30, we are going to work 1 single crochet into this first chain 1 space, then work 1 single crochet in each stitch until you come to the next chain 1 space, working 1 single crochet around each chain 1 space and into each single crochet of this round, slip stitching into the top of the beginning single crochet when you make it all the way around, and then working 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around for round 31 also. And when you finish with round 31, you will finish this off. Okay, so I have finished off my work after working the last 2 rounds after the round with the holes for the string, and you will notice that the holes for the string are pretty small, but they do work as long as you don't make your string too big. You will want to weave in this end on the top outside here, and weave in the end that is on the inside of the bag. When you are ready to work the top flap for the top of the backpack, we are going to start with a loop on our hook, and we are going to come to the back of the bag where we have this line where we back post single crocheted in these stitches, and we are going to slip stitch into the first stitch that is sticking out. So you will insert your hook in that stitch and slip stitch onto that stitch. When you have slip stitched onto that first stitch, we will then chain 1 and then single crochet into this same first stitch. And then we are going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch across this line that we have made that was back post single crocheted around, which was 20 stitches in total. So again, you will continue single crocheting around each one of these stitches until you get to the end of this line that we created. When you have made it all the way across that first row, we will then turn our work and chain 1, and then we will single crochet into the same first stitch and work 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way back across this line that we are creating. When you have made it all the way back across that line, you will have worked the second row for the top flap of this backpack. So for row 3, we are going to do the exact same thing that we did for row 2 by turning our work, chaining 1, and working 1 single crochet into this same first stitch, and then working 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across. When you have made it all the way across row 3, we will turn our work, and for row 4 we are going to decrease 1 stitch on either end of this flap that we are making. So to do that, we are going to bring 2 single crochets together at the beginning and end of this row. So chain 1, begin a single crochet in this first stitch by bringing up a loop and leaving it on the hook, and doing the same thing in the second stitch by bringing up a loop and leaving it on the hook, and bring all of those loops together in 1 stitch. And that is 1, 2 single crochet together at the beginning of this row, and then we are going to go on to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across until you have 2 stitches left at the end of this row. When you have 2 stitches left at the end of this row, we will do the same thing that we did at the beginning by working these 2 single crochets together. So start a single crochet in the first stitch, leaving the last loop on the hook, and doing the same thing in the second stitch, and then bringing those 2 stitches together in 1, 2 single crochet together. And then we have just taken our 20 stitches down to 18 stitches. Now that you know how to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across, and how to decrease for this top flap, you can go on to work this to be however you would like it to be. If you would like your top flap to look exactly like mine, I will put how I worked each row here on the screen instead of going through each one with you. Starting with working 1 single crochet in each stitch for the first few rows, and then decreasing by 1 stitch on either end of the next row. Again, here you will see how I continued on for the next few rows until I got the look I wanted for the top flap and I was ready to work the buttonhole. You will want the width of the top flap of your backpack to be a little wider than the button that you are trying to use by the time that you are ready to make your buttonhole. So it doesn't have to be much wider, but I would make it just slightly wider than the button that you are making by the time that your top flap gets to the point that you would like to make the hole for your button. That being said, the actual hole for your button, you will want that to be slightly smaller than your actual button, but I will show you how I made my buttonhole so that you can do yours however you need yours to be done. When you have your top flap the length that you would like it to be and the width down to just a little bit wider than the button that you are using, like mine is here, we will then work the buttonhole. So to work a buttonhole for my button, I have 10 stitches here. So I'm going to work 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches on this side, and I will do the same thing on the other side with the last 3 stitches of this row, which leaves me 4 stitches in the middle. So I am going to work a chain of 5, which is 1 more chain than the amount of stitches that I am skipping, and then skip the amount of stitches that you decided to skip, and work 1 single crochet in the same amount of stitches at the end of the row as you did at the beginning of this row. And that is the beginning of your buttonhole. When you have this beginning row of your buttonhole established, we will then go on to work at least 1 more row across this buttonhole, and you can work more than that if you would like to, but again we will work 1 more row at least to go back across this buttonhole. If you would like to decrease at the beginning or end of this row, you can of course do that to make yours look however you would like it to look. I personally am not going to do that, so I am going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches, and when we come to the chain space, you will work the same amount of single crochets around the chain space as you have chains. So I worked 5 chains, therefore I'm going to work 5 single crochets around this chain space. When you come to the other side, you will then work this side the same as you worked the other side, working 1 single crochet in each stitch if that's how you worked it, or decreasing if that is how you worked it on the beginning of this row. At this point, you can finish off your work if you would like. We are going to work 1 more row around the whole outside of this flap, so it will add an extra row after however many it is that you would like to work after your buttonhole. So you can continue working however many rows you would like to make it the look that you would like it to be, but remember that we will be adding 1 more row after the rows that you decide to work. I'm going to finish mine off here, and then we will work the border around this flap. When you have finished off your top flap, you will want to weave in this end off the end of it and this end from the beginning of slip stitching this on. Again, you will want to sew both of them in before we work the border around the flap. To work a border around the top flap, we are going to start with a loop on our hook, and we are going to slip stitch into the very bottom stitch of the flap where it is connecting to the bag. Again, slip stitch into this bottom stitch, and when you have slip stitched into that stitch, we will then work 1 single crochet in the same stitch, and then work 1 single crochet in the side of each stitch all the way up the side of this flap until you get to the top. And depending on how the top of your flap is, or your buttonhole is, if it is rounded, then you can just work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And if it is somewhat squared like this, you will want to work maybe 2 stitches in the very corner stitch to make it turn that corner. And then continue working 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way until you get to the very bottom on the other side of your flap. When you've come to the bottom of the other side of the flap and you have single crocheted into the last stitch, we will then slip stitch into the same stitch by inserting the hook and pulling that loop through the loop on the hook, and then you will finish this off and weave in the ends on both the beginning and end of this border. When you have those ends weaved in, you will then want to sew on your button to the body of our bag, of course making sure that it is sitting where it needs to sit so that it can hold the flap down. So go ahead and sew on your button however you see fit to the body of your bag, and then we will put the string of our bag through the bag. To weave through the string, I find it somewhat easier to take a safety pin because these holes are so small, and weave it through with the safety pin. So you will want to find the 6 chain 1 spaces on the front of your work and find the very middle 2 of those, and you will want to go in through one of the middle 2, starting there and pulling it through that hole, which again will be somewhat difficult because the holes are so small, but it is possible. And then you'll want to do that all the way around, going out through the next chain 1 hole and weaving that all the way through until you come out this hole on the other side of the middle front. If you guys would like to see how to make this spiraled string, let me know in the comments down below, and I will make a video on how to make this string. To make the straps for this, you are going to want to start with a chain of 5, which will actually end up being 4 stitches. So again, chain 5, and then single crochet into the second stitch from the hook, and then single crochet in each stitch across, again, which should give you 4 single crochets. When you have those 4 single crochets, it will be very tiny and somewhat difficult to work with, but you will then turn your work and chain 1 and single crochet into the same stitch and each stitch across, again, which is only 4 stitches. And this is the second row, and you will want to go on to work this strap the exact same way until you have 40 rows for this strap. So again, work those stitches all the way across for the second row, and for the third row you'll do the same thing by turning your work, chaining 1, single crocheting into the same stitch and each stitch across, and repeating this until you have 40 rows. When you have 40 rows for this first strap, you will finish this off and work a second one exactly the same, and then we will work the hook loop. For the hook loop, we are going to start with a chain of 4, which will turn into 3 stitches. So we will single crochet into the second loop from the hook, and then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And when you have those 3 single crochets, we will then go on to work this the exact same way as we worked the straps. So we will then turn our work and chain 1 and single crochet into the same first stitch and into each stitch across. And for this hook loop, we will repeat this until we work 23 rows. When you are finished with the hook loop, it should look like this, a very small just strip, and then the straps should be just a little bit longer and slightly wider. So we are going to start by sewing on the hook loop first. So we are going to want to know where the very 2 middle stitches are, and we are going to do that, of course, by counting in 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is the middle stitch on the right half of the bag. So I'm going to start sewing on this hook loop just like this, starting with one corner in the middle stitch and sewing this outwards in the next 3 stitches. When you have that first side sewn on, you will then want to make sure that this is straight, and you will just bend it down towards the body of the bag so that you create this loop. And then you will want to do the exact same thing by sewing this side down on the very next stitch to where you started the first half, and sew this down working to the left. When you have the hook loop sewn on both sides, we will then sew on these straps. So you of course will want to have your needle threaded and your strap ready to go. And we are going to sew it on to the very corner. So we are looking at the bottom here in the very middle stitch of the corner, and we are going to sew it on to that first single crochet on the side of the bag. Just like that. And when you have that attached to the very corner, you will then do the same thing by sewing the bottom of this strap to the next few stitches on the bottom of the bag. When you have sewn the bottom of the strap to the body of your bag, you will of course sew the top to the body of your bag. So you will want to make sure that it is straight, and you will flip the strap so that the top of the strap is touching the body of the bag. And you will also just start here in the middle where you started sewing the hook loop on. So you'll line this strap up with the middle and sew it on just like this across to the right. And when you have this first strap sewn on, you will do the exact same steps with the second strap. So here's the bag we just made, all finished up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I also wanted to share this second bag and ask if you guys liked it, and if you do, if you would like to see a video on how to make this pattern. If that is something you would like to see, please let me know in the comments down below, as well as letting me know if you would like to see how to make the twisted string I used in this video. Other than that, I hope that this was enjoyable and helpful for you. If it was, please hit that sub, like, and bell button and leave me a comment to tell me what you think. I hope you guys go on to create many more amazing things, and until next time guys, I'll see ya.